Hello, good evening. We are continuing to learn Torah Chavtes 29. We are holding by the letter Vav, paragraph 6. So, v'chol zman shelo tiken haklali, and as long as a person has not affected the tikkun haklali, the general, the overriding rectification, as long as this wasn't done, Ashchina ibivchinas madua adom milushecha. The Shechina is in a state that its clothing are red. It says madua adom milushecha. Why are your garments red? Bivchinas dam nida. This is an aspect of dam nida. Azai adibur awesome. Then the dibur is forbidden, because it is forbidden at that point in time to reveal Torah secrets. Bivchinas, it says, Ne'elamti dumio, I was stumped. I became silent, onto total silence. Sheme'elo hadomim, these domim, these bloods, nasa dumia. Dumia is from the root of domim, is dumia. In other words, the domim becomes dumia. And when the domim is dumia, a person has to retain a state of silence. A person has to be silenced. In other words, the speech is forbidden. In Torah Vav, we learn the same thing, but the other way around. That the tikkun, when a person is before tshuva, in a state of domim, in a state of blood, then he is subject to shfichos domim and bizyonis, to bloodshed and to shame, and to ridicule. And his tikkun is to turn dam, which is blood, to doim, to silence. And this is the thing that rectifies it. Over here we're saying that when a person is in a state of dam, and he hasn't been able to whiten his garments, so he has to be ne'elamti dumir. In other words, he's not allowed to reveal the dibur of divrei Torah and sisra Torah. Because the essence of the dibur depends on tikkun haklali. He will tell you his bris. Now, vayoged is also another euphemism for the ever of the bris kodesh. It's called a gid. So vayoged, in other words, the es lachem es brisoy, the yoged is the dibur, is he will tell you, is also b'chinas bris. Ze b'chinas baso the shokev Rabbi Shimon. After Rabbi Shimon has passed away, one of the Talmidim will say to one another, Al titen espicho lachti es besavecho. Don't let your mouth cause your basa to sin. In other words, do not reveal Sodes Torah b'Rabbin, because Rabbi Shimon constituted the Keshes Abris, as we have found that the rainbow, the Keshes Abris, was never seen during the days of Shimon Bar Yochai. The rainbow originally came into being following the Mabul, and it represents the Tikkun Bris. That's the bris, the Kadosh Baruch Hu, the covenant the Kadosh Baruch Hu has instated, not to bring Mabul on the world anymore. It's one of the reasons that that it's forbidden to gaze at the bris. To look at it and say a bracha, but not to gaze at it, because it's actually a revelation of the Pchinas Bris Kodesh, and it demeans the Shechina. It's the private manifestation of the covenant between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Am Yisrael, which is the Shechina. Therefore, it is very sensitive. The mitzvah is not to look at it. And the three colors of the Shechina are tikkun to everything. That's the tikkun abris. And Shimon Bar Yochai said to his son, I can pater the entire world from from the din. And he said, and if it's me and my son, Reb Shimon, and he said, together with Yosam, the king, was a big tzaddik, said the three of us can pater the world from the din, from the verdict, from the judgment, until the end of time. And when he passed away, so while he was alive, he says, Ptach picha v'hiyod varecha, open your mouth and let your words shine. When he passed away, this is al titen es picha v'achti es b'shar, don't let your mouth bring chet, sin, to your flesh. In other words, do not reveal. So it's the Torah Barabim. When all the Gidin get the total comprehensive tikkun, then when tikkun haklali is absent, then dibur is forbidden. I've remained silent. Don't let your mouth, cause you to sin. And the person that speaks then reveals the Torah then. When the tikkun haklali is not in existence, he transgresses. Do not go gossip mongering amongst your people. He is a gossip monger that is revealing, because what is somebody who reveals secrets that he's not supposed to reveal is called a gossip monger. However, during the days of Rabbi Shimon was alive. His Talmidim would tell one another, open your mouth and let your words shine. In other words, they would reveal. Because when Tikkun haklali is present, then the dibur is allowed. Then it's okay. Because that union of domim is in the Shechina is already fixed. Dam nekov the state is that when the tikkun exists, when there is a tikkun haklali, see here what can be done to someone's the same. Done. Just give me 1 second. So the state of mind is all dependent upon the idea is to open up The idea is to open up dialogue with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, to open up a state of connection between a person and the Kadosh Baruch Hu. And this is done through Tikkun HaKlali. Because a person gets influx of Kedusha coming to him from above. And the Kedusha that comes to you, towards you, is coming from the in or the source, which is the Bechinas of the Yesod that is shining onto you. This is true for everyone. Whenever it is that you get an expression of a Shefa Eloki, in fact, probably expression of anything, any kind of information, any kind of, it always comes to you through a Bechina of Yesod. Now, the Bechina of Yesod invariably, in spirituality, it invariably contains the Bechina of Orla, which is a spiritual foreskin. What that means is that there's always a possibility for me to misinterpret the information that comes to me, and therefore the understandings that I will get from what I'm learning, from that which has been mushpa to me, will be colored by the state of my mental faculties. In other words, I need to be zecher to tikkun a bris. In other words, to remove my own spiritual orla. That removes the spiritual orla from the source that gives me the new information, the new influx. And it allows me to receive it, allows the new information, the new Torah that I'm getting, to congeal in a way that is to concretize and to, in a way which is true, in a way which is emistic, in a way which is going to lead me to a Kadosh Baruch Hu. But what happens if I don't have taken a kloli, if my bris is not rectified? That means that I'm getting the good together with the bad, and everything is open to interpretation. And my interpretation being that there's no tikkun lakloli there, that is, the interpretation is invariably faulty. And because of that, that causes the interpretation to be twisted. So if you get just Teresh Benigle or these kind of things, the damage is not too bad. It's not too, because it's not a huge deal. It's like, so you don't give a weapon to a small child. But if you're giving a child, let's say, a hammer made of plastic, it's okay. It's still a weapon, but it's not going to damage. Even if it's going to be misused, it's still not going to be damaged. It's not going to cause damage. So that is the reason that everything depends upon the tikkun haklali. So as long as a person does not possess the state of tikkun haklali, which is tikkun habris. So all the information that he gets, all the shefa, all the bounty that he gets from the Shekhinah is considered that it is wrapped in red garments, which means your interpretation of the information that you're getting is the chances of this information to be right and to be correct and to lead you to good inyanim is only fair. It's not. So that's why when there's no tikkun haklali yet, a person needs to refrain from revealing the secrets of the Torah, because the secrets of the Torah are like nuclear energy. You don't bandy it around. You don't fool around with it. You don't throw it around. This is very dangerous. This is a very, very dangerous state I mean, it's you don't give a child a loaded gun. You don't, so because the damage when the Divrei Torah are the Sodus Torah, the Torah's mysteries are improperly revealed, are revealed to a receptacle which is not clean, which in itself has that spiritual foreskin on itself. The reality is being interpreted in the wrong way. To begin with, there's nothing else that you can do about it. The Rebbe says, this is let the honor sing to you and not become silent. Covered, as we know, is begodim, is the garments. As we mentioned this concept many times, the malchus, the garment, covered, these are all the outside layers, always the outside layer that is exposed to the outside. The name of a person is a malchus. The malchus is covered. The clothing are the covered, because this is the way people see you from the outside. If you are wearing fancy clothing, the people say, wow, he's very well dressed. He's a very honorable person. In fact, when you when you look and you see the clothing of very honorable people in very honorable situations, you will always see that they are dressed with a multitude of clothing. When you see, a king being crowned, he is wearing, I don't know how many, and every single piece of garment is steeped in protocol and and rules, and what kind of clothes and what kind of sashes and what kind of medals and what kind of colors, what kind of everything. So you can see it's all, and on top of that, there's another, an ermine coat and a crown and this and that, and they're all ensconced in a gazillion amount of begodim, because begodim is the covet, because this is the outer layer. However, those who are the lowest of the low, Bnei Cham, the children of Cham, which are the dwellers of the African continent, he says they're going around chasufei sheis. They're walking around, bare naked. They're going around naked, and because they have no sense of cover, they have no cover. This is why, people are never really able to understand it. It's almost as if they are in a different realm of humanity than anybody else. if you ever noticed, but in Africa, when there is lo aleinu a magefa, or where there's lo aleinu a war that breaks out, the casualties are in the hundreds of thousands. I don't know if you ever noticed that. I mean, in another place, they're like, uh, if tens of people in America, there's shooting, the dozens of people that in Eretz Israel, if one person passes away, it's earth shattering because this is the epitome of the Dmus Odom. Dmus Odom in of covered. And therefore, it was automatically it's supposed to be dressed tzniusdik, because this is the cover. This is the opposite of bizyonis, of domin. That's why it says leman zocha v'lo yidom ze b'chinas begodim. Covered is constantly not talks about begodim. Shenislabim they become white. B'chinas madu adom levushecha. In other words, they whiten from a state of redness of Madua Adom Levushecha, B'chinas Dam Nida, they are being purified from Dam Nida. Ve'az v'lo yidam, then this silence is not needed anymore. Why? Nimshach lavnunias be'adamim, because whiteness is being injected in the blood. You have the noislim min lavonim, and they flow down from the lavonim. Canal dibur mutar. Then the speech is allowed. B'chinas psach picha. Yes, open your mouth, and then you can reveal Sodus HaTorah. It is imperative to understand that when a person is very holy, is a Godel B'Torah. I'm not even talking about somebody who is a Makubal or whatever it is, but a person is a Godel B'Torah. It can be the Chaim Kanievsky, or any one of the Rebbe's big Talmidim, like Shechter Shlita, and the rest of them. When they speak, you are receiving an injection of kedusha, which holds in it Sodus HaTorah that you cannot understand. You have no idea of what it is that you're getting. If you were to approach these kind of tzaddikim with a proper yira and understand that they are connected to Torah in the purest way possible, and when you get from them a word, a dibur, or even anything at all that they tell you, and you get it from them, you're getting a divine message, which has secrets upon secrets of Sodus HaTorah, which is intrinsic in it. And the idea here is Emunas Chachamim. We visited that principle in Terech Av Beis. With this principle in many places. The tzaddikim are there in order to admonish us and to sort of like correct our way, to sort of like veer us from the wrong into the right. So many times, whether they actually, do it b'chavona or it automatically comes because they are as holy as they are. They are pchinas levushim levanim, bgodim levanim, white clothing. If you have the proper emuna in their kedusha, you don't need them to tell you explicitly what is wrong, because your emuna, you know already that if they scold you, it doesn't matter if what they're telling you is, to the Nakuda, it's correct or it's not correct, or it has Nagia, it's not Nagia, has nothing to do with that. If they scold you, that means that they're telling you a message from above. You're paying the wrong attention to the wrong things at the wrong time. Search yourself. Find out what's going on with you. This is the Indian of B'chol es yu b'gadecha levanim. When people have a bechina of tikkun haklali, at that time, that means that everything that they tell you is true on a level that is already beyond of whether something specifically is factually so or not factually so. There's an emes in it that if you will look for it, if you will believe in it, and you will listen for it, you will understand what the message is. I think I told you the story that, I went to my Rav, and I spoke to him about a certain kasha in Torah 17, that the Biur Likutim is asking this kasha. And I asked him. So he scolded me. He says, "What is this? Isn't it enough that they tell you what the tzaddik can do? You also want to understand." When you're taking a look at it face value, why not? It's not my own kasha. It's, the Biur Likutim is asking this kasha. It's a Kodesh Elyon. So I told him, it's not my kasha. It's the Biur Likutim is asking this kasha. So he continued, in a very stern tone. If the Biur Likutim is asking this kasha, he also has a teretz for it. He says, I know he has a teretz, but I don't understand. What is his teretz? What is his answer? So he says, don't put your mind into this. So I went off. Obviously, again, anybody who's learning Gemara, what do you mean? Don't you put your mind to it? Find out and understand what it is you're being told. But over here, there's another message. There's another message that he's telling me. Your mind is immaterial. Your mind is swathed with irrelevancies. You're worried about things which are not negir to you, and the things that are negir to you, you are neglecting. You're not where it's at. 99.999999999, I don't know how many nines % of humanity is totally in shtus. Totally. Nothing that they say matter. Nothing. And whatever that they say that they think matters this way, it's totally the opposite. They figure, that the epitome of sitkus is gamma-bris. And the worse form of deviation and depravity, the better it is. The higher, the whatever. They're totally, of course. If I'm listening to the news, I'm watching the news, I'm delving into inyanim that has to do with this world. I'm automatically veering away from what it is I should be attuned to. So when I tell him something and he answers me, listen, is it not enough that you tell what tzaddik can do? You also want to understand it. Basically, he's feeling with his kedusha, I'm not attuned to the right things in my life. Being attuned to the right thing is Shmir Sabris. Disengage from, all kinds of, this world is just profanity is something that is constant, just constant. You can't listen to it. You can't listen to it. So what's the so don't listen to it. Okay, we'll need to finish here today. Mitzvah Shem, tomorrow night we will learn in Breslov. Now, very importantly, at tomorrow in afternoon, in Mitzvah Shem, I'm having some kind of a CT scan, and that means that I will most probably, hopefully, I'll be on time. Doesn't relate. So what I would like to do, I'd like to set the shir for tomorrow for 9 o'clock to make sure the common time. So Rabbi Rosenfeld, if you can please call Avi Statman and Avram Ernstweig and let them know that we will learn tomorrow at 9, between 9 and 10, instead of 8 to 9, I'll be very grateful. Thank you so very much. Have a good evening, and I'll see you in session tomorrow.